Tuesday, Coast Life. We didn't get a chance to see you yesterday, so we're kind of all back at it today. It's one of those weeks where every day you're going to be like, what day is it? But it is Tuesday.
That's every week for me.
I know. It's almost every week for me too. But here we are for another day of Coast Life. Charlie, did you have a good holiday? What'd you do around town this weekend?
I had a great couple of days over the weekend, but last night specifically, I got to go out to the fundraiser that our chief meteorologist, Paul Williams, was holding. It was all about raising money for prostate cancer awareness. The money they raised yesterday is going to go towards the tests that they're going to offer later this year when they have their big walk and run event. So it's really cool to see. Lots of people came out, lots of people taking pictures. There was a little auction. This was all over at Nicholas Pizza, and I ended up winning one of the auction items, and my wife ended up winning a different one of the auction items. So
rigged.
We got in there.
Nice. It sounds like a lot of fun, but more importantly, it sounds very, very important. I know all of the awareness that Paul helps raise locally is just it's so critical and crucial, especially for men to take care of themselves, and just those simple tests along the way that you're supposed to do them so that you can stick around.
And I want to point this out because sometimes fraternities don't get the best reputation.
This is true, yeah.
But Paul Williams and his fraternity brothers that he has from all the way back when he was in college in 1804.
I'll say all that way.
They still all come together.
That's
when
awesome.
one of them has an event, they support each other in a way that's really impressive. So little tip of the cap to Paul and all his guys out there. I thought that was real impressive.
Yes, it's great to hear, and great to hear the community coming out to support everybody. Another way that you can kind of do that is if you, especially with the weather today, you're looking forward to getting outside and getting geared up for summer, you want to make sure that all your outdoor activities are covered. And a great way to explore all those outdoor activities is going to be at the DSN Outdoors Expo happening Friday and Saturday. Charlie had some details for you, and we will dive into those tomorrow, but it's just going to be a really great event.
Well, and I've been there. I was there last year. They have every outdoor toy under the sun that you can imagine. So if that's your game, if you like getting outside,
especially boating, like boating season is almost here.
Boating, four-wheelers, souped up golf carts, basically. They got all sorts of stuff.
Things you didn't even know you needed.
It's 100%. It's like when you talked about the Ren Fair and you were like, I walk around and I see something, I didn't even know I had to have that. That's what the Outdoor Expo is like for the outdoors crew. So get out there. We're going to have some of our people out there. DSN is going to be out there. The Delmarva Sports Network for anybody that doesn't know, and a whole bunch of others. So it's a really great opportunity. It does run Friday and Saturday. We've got times up on the Coast TV website.
Yep, so we'll give you time to check that out. But sort of speaking of the web, and I feel like AI, we've talked about it before here on the show many a times, but there's always something new to learn, always new details and new tricks that AI is learning.
So two things when you say that. Not only is there always something new to learn, I was just reading an article recently where a professor who teaches computer science said it's almost impossible to create a 3-year curriculum now because what you have today is going to be so vastly different in 3 years that part of what they end up having to do in the curriculum is teach you how to adjust, because that's going to be happening all the time.
Until AI becomes the teacher.
And with that in mind, Sam Altman, he is the CEO of OpenAI. If you use ChatGPT or any of that stuff, he's kind of the head honcho. He says it's costing their company tens of millions of dollars in computing power just with how many people say please and thank you to the artificial intelligence.
Look, it's not a habit that I plan on breaking. I'm going to continue to say please and thank you to artificial intelligence because I just don't want to be the first one on their list. I want to be the one they remember that, like, she was nice.
He added, and this was what it said in the article, adding cryptically, you never know.
You never know, and I'm just not ready.
Sam, I'm not real excited about you never know. Lie to me. Tell me you know something. You're the guy in charge of all of this. If you don't know, we certainly don't know. But I am like you, Leah. I do say please and thank you. I am very kind. I want to be one of the last people that the robot overlords come for.
I want to be the one that, like, she was nice, she was sweet, she always said please and thank you. We can spare her for now.
We'll put her on the easier human slave labor.
Exactly.
She can just bring us, chips.
But that's what I think. That's what weirds me out is that I know that, like, humanity has sat pretty on the top of the food chain for years. And we have created the only thing that's going to unseat us from that position. And why would we do that to ourselves?
It's like nobody's ever seen a movie.
It's like no one's ever seen a movie.
And
But
hold on, and with that in mind, we need to move to the part that happened in Beijing this week. So in Beijing, you know, a couple, 10, 20,000 people ran a marathon, but 21 robots also ran the marathon. Now this is all happening, mind you, at the same time we're developing the artificial intelligence. We're apparently also developing the bodies for these computers. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, because they don't get muscle soreness. They can just run and run and run and run until their battery runs out, I guess. But ideally, they'll solve that problem. But I don't know. I don't know where this is going. Are we going to have like robot sports leagues and teams? Like, is it going to be entertaining to watch that? Do you pay them? You don't pay them. So we're like, I'm so confused.
I think that the reason it's confusing is because it feels like we are on the precipice of a world-changing technology shift. If we haven't already been. I mean, some of this is just the internet computer age.
Sure.
As we develop further into it.
Well, yeah, some of it we probably won't see. Like, I don't know how fast all of that will change, like once we get to a point. And I'm certain too that there's also a certain expense level that will have to hit first in order for all of that change to follow. So I don't know.
And materials will matter.
Yeah.
You need the materials to create all of this stuff. But that brings me to the last two parts of this AI conversation we're having. Number one, Bill Gates just this week said that he thinks within 10 years, within a decade, so by 2035,
not enough time.
he thinks that AI and robots will be able to replace most human stuff. That's most.
Yeah.
Not a little, not some, not just bringing somebody a cup of coffee, not just writing a little code. That's most.
I mean, I was having this conversation with another coworker that we were talking about, like, I guess the jobs that I would put robots in first maybe would be like certain medical emergency situations, like your EMTs, that they can get there faster, harder, stronger, whatever. And I think you need a human in tow for a while, because how jarring would it be to be a victim of something and then you wake up and you're like, my EMT is a robot. But I think that if they can be, there's no human bias, there's no human element at play. It's just the facts, the procedure. Like, I don't know. Like, where do you start? Is it in life-saving technology? Is it?
Well, first of all, the idea that we're going to be able to be the ones that direct where this goes,
Yeah, right.
I don't think that that's how it's happening. It's going to be led first by capitalism.
Yes.
And then by whatever the computers
I'm curious how robots and artificial intelligence will feel about capitalism.
So I really do think that there's a paradigm shift that is at least potentially there. Whether it's what happens or not, it's potentially there. So that is, what Bill Gates said this week. And then there's the part that's even a little bit more concerning is that we don't really understand some of this stuff. One of the things that happened recently is that some AI model took a huge interest in the Virgin Mary, and the people that built this AI model have no idea why that is. Like, they don't know what it is about that caused it to kind
get
of
curious,
continue going that way. I don't know if maybe we were coming up on Easter and just religion was in the air or what. But there are things that AI is doing, little areas that it's going off in, and the people that made the AI are like,
we don't know why it's doing that.
I don't know why it's doing that, but it's doing it.
But it's doing it.
So what are the other things where that's going to happen? It is just a very strange, interesting time.
It is. I'd be curious to see how AI interprets and documents history that like humans have already explored. Like, how would AI look at ancient Rome, and like what conclusions might they draw from some of the clues left behind that maybe we didn't, or we missed, or we drew differently?
Well, one of the things that it's already helping with is in some cases it's helping decode certain things when they find old ancient texts and things like that, partials,
like dead languages,
dead language things. It's helping with that. Going back to your medical stuff, it's doing a great job of like identifying cancers at a much earlier phase than what the regular human can do. So there are really, really big reasons to be excited about the future of AI.
But also,
there are also reams and reams of science fiction that doesn't seem so fictional anymore, that is a cautionary tale.
Well, now that my blood pressure is through the roof and my fear is coursing the rest of this day, we have a show to get to. Let's see what's coming up today on Coast Life. We're actually not done talking about AI, social media. We're going to open up that conversation a little bit further on with our great debate.
Plus, we're going to tell you the incredible story behind this license plate, who it belonged to, and why we're talking about one of the great cars ever made, the Rolls-Royce, on COASTLIFE.
Cannot wait for that. But also, if you need some animals to lighten the mood, we're also going to be chatting with some folks behind a petting zoo. All that fun and more is coming up today on Coast Life.
Coast Life is sponsored by BB Healthcare, Coastal Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning, Preston Automotive Group, Shell Brothers, and the Parker Group.
Luxury, style, the mission statement for Rolls-Royce is they take the best that exists and they make it better. And look at this incredible ride we have here. This car belongs to Steve Rose. And Steve, what do we got here?
You've got a 1971 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow long wheelbase, limited production by the Rolls-Royce company in the very early century. So this car is about 58, 59 years old now.
So my question for you is, first, how long have you been interested in Rolls-Royce cars? Was it always? Did it become a thing you liked? What happened?
Well, I've always been a car guy, even from high school and college. Loved the automobile and used to get my fingers dirty doing it. Then careers took over and gave me the opportunity to enjoy always having that spare fun car. I saw when I was very 16, 18 years old, I saw an old Rolls-Royce in someone's driveway and I was fascinated by it. And then I looked into the history of Rolls-Royce and how it was two guys that got together and started a car manufacturing plant in the early days, and how it evolved to a symbol of luxury in the British Empire. This was imported to the U.S., so you can see it's left-hand drive rather than the English right-hand drive. So this was imported to the American market, and it only had one option when it was delivered, and that's cruise control.
Oh,
that was it. Other than that, power steering, power brake, power windows, power everything else, and all leather interior. And so I bought it a little less than 10 years ago, and through Palma's Classic Autos in Audubon, New Jersey. And John had looked after this car for 30 plus years, and it was in his shop for maintenance. And he says the original, or his owner, his customer, Dr. Green, was into his 90s and he could no longer drive the car. And John asked me do I like the car? I said,
do I like the car? Do I like the car?
I loved the car. He says, would you like to take it for a ride? I said, I'd love to. Let's go. He goes, no, you're driving. So we took about a 15, 20-minute drive, got back, and I said, John, if Dr. Green would like to sell it, I would be its proud owner. And
well, that's an incredible story. Now, you mentioned something in there, though, that's the most important for the week that we're leading up to. British.
There's a British car show.
That is right, and this is a British car.
This will be one of our car show. Each year has a marquee, a brand that is featured, and this year it's Rolls-Royce and its twin Bentley. And so this will be on display on Saturday, the 3rd of May, at the Lewis Cape May Ferry grounds. And those that would like to enjoy this, and 11 more Rolls-Royces and Bentley.
11 more?
11 more. There'll be 12 in the featured marquee this year, and then there'll be about 100 cars from the 20s through 2000 of all types of British cars, and then from 2000 to 2025 will be future classics in a different category. All on display there, hopefully with a beautiful day like this, to enjoy seeing these works of art.
Well, not only are you going to be there, not only is this car going to be there, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be one of the judges, and Christina DiRobertis is going to be there. So go out and enjoy that if you can. But we're not done. I want to take our camera on a walk around here, and you can come with me, Steve,
sure,
because I want to talk about something you showed me in the ride over. And it is this album. And why is this album important?
This was important when I talked to John Palma and he said, Dr. Green would like to sell it. He says, oh, by the way, this car's original owner was American entertaining icon, movie, television show, and concert performer Perry Como. And he and his wife owned this car for 30 plus years. John Palma had been servicing this car in his shop in Audubon, New Jersey for over 30 years. And Dr. Green was his second customer of all.
And you said that you're a big fan here.
Absolutely. And I grew up with Perry Como as an inspiration with his beautiful voice and doing his variety show for weeks and weeks on television. And so when I found that was the trigger, there couldn't be any better than to celebrate this car tied with Perry, this American icon entertainer Perry Como.
So a little bit of kismet there. You know, you already were interested. You already wanted the car. You find out it's one of your favorite people. Now, I will say, not everybody that has a TV show gets a Rolls Royce. I'm working on it. The thing that you guys are going to want to remember when you go to the car show this coming May 3rd, there's a lot of stories like this. A lot of the different cars have backgrounds that you can really dig into if you get to talk to the owners. It's a lot of fun, so make sure that when you're walking around the grounds, if you manage to get out there, engage with the owners, engage with the people that are there, because you're gonna find some stories that you just didn't expect to get. Now, we've got more Coast Life coming up after the break. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having us.
Feels like summer, but it also means that warmer weather's coming our way, and it's not summer along coastal Delmarva without some sort of celebration of the arts, whether it's live music, whether it's a hint of visual arts. You can find it at the Freeman Arts Pavilion. We've got Allison Cunningham joining us and Allie Bishop on the Coast Life couch today. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here and getting us pumped for the 18th season with you guys.
Yes.
Tell us what's in store for everybody.
We are excited to be kicking off the 18th season at Freeman Arts Pavilion in Selbyville. The season will kick off May 30th with a great tribute to Queen, Almost Queen. And then we go through mid-September with a season ending with Alison Krauss on September 12th.
Nice.
So in between there, lots of fun and exciting things, but we're excited to kick off another season at Freeman Arts Pavilion.
Yeah, and we're really excited for you guys because in addition to some of those big national names and national acts, you guys also celebrate some local artists, but also some some bands here and there that people might not know that they're in love with until they come check them out.
Exactly.
Totally. One of the ones I love is Sons of Maestro. They're coming at the end of June, and they are two brothers that play reggae classics and pop classics with their violin. So it is just such a high energy show. I definitely recommend that one for something you might be surprised by.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's sort of the fun thing about a venue like Freeman Arts Pavilion and what you guys do with all these acts that you bring through town is that, go be surprised. You don't have to know the artist that when you go to see them because you might just fall in love, and there's nothing like a high energy show that gets a crowd just amped, and it's really fun to be a part of that in real time.
Yep, we definitely think this season is a time for you to maybe take a chance on something new this year. We have, a lot of great tributes, those national acts, everything from 311 to Counting Crows with Gaslight Anthem, and then we have family-friendly and free entertainment all summer long as well.
Yeah, but you guys have you have a free event for families coming up as well. Dive into that a little.
Yeah, that's the Freeman Arts Family Fun Fest. So it's just a day you can come in for free, bring all the kids.
Nice.
We have so many unique experiences in store, from face painting to hip hop fundamentals. We're bringing in some of our artists that are a part of our Young Audience series, like Cascading Carlos. Always a fun time with him. He's one of the jugglers, and it's just a day for you guys all to hang out and enjoy yourselves as a family.
So for people that are looking to get out there and join you guys for all that you have going on, where should they go to look at tickets and events and details like that?
Our website is the best place to go. It's where you can purchase tickets online. That's freemanarts.org. Our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are all really great places to be in the know as well. So be sure to be following us there as well.
Fantastic. Sounds like it's all going to be a lot of fun. Well, thank you guys for coming in and getting us excited for what you guys have in store this summer.
Awesome.
I know it's going to be a lot of fun. But coming up on Coast Life, we're not done. We told you we're not done talking about AI, social media. We're kind of diving into that social media side of this conversation. We'll be right back.
You're watching Coast Life with Leah Rizzo and Charlie Sakaitis.
Well, we started the show off talking about social media and, well, less social media, more AI, our artificial intelligence. We've got social media talk coming up, trying to keep everything straight here in this show today. But we were talking some tech, and I think AI and social media do, eventually the conversation does kind of merge a little bit. But on the social media side of this conversation, maybe if you've been following along with Coachella this year, I've heard a lot.
Haven't I? Oh, haven't I?
Whether you meant to or not. Everything I've learned about Coachella this year was involuntary. But it all still came across my algorithms, all of that, because I used to be a huge music festival person. So I think all of my AI algorithms are like, you still interested? And it seems like I'm not the only one whose answer is no. And with Coachella specifically, it seems like people were complaining that, you know, nobody was actually dressing up for fun this year, except for a very select few people. There were like 3 or 4 people that kept showing up across social media as like the only person dressed up at Coachella. And the ticket prices were insanely high. The food prices were even higher.
We talked about the food before.
We talked about
you know,
that.
That's through the roof.
And it's just, I think people are disappointed because it has become such a who's who event, and people who have the money go, I think a lot of times for the off chance that they might bump into a more socially prominent influencer. I think that was happening a lot last year, that people were like, oh yeah, they saw so-and-so, like Charlie D'Amelio and some of the other influencers that have names that I know.
It became a place to see and be seen, but not really
not
about
even
the
by
music
celebrities.
or the festival. It's
Right.
the influencers.
It's the influencers.
And that's kind of stuff has really taken over a lot of different things.
Yes.
It is, again, now, I know it's an old fuddy-duddy event, but the Masters, along with the food prices where they keep them low, they don't let you bring phones in. You have to lock up your phones before you go into the Masters. And I think that some music festivals could really take a cue from that, because you want people to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And at a festival specifically, at a music festival, you should be worried about what you're hearing on stage, about being around people, about connecting with others, far more than you should be worried about that hazy video from the back you take that you will never look at again.
Well, especially because I think like what truly makes an event elite, and especially an event like the Masters, is exclusivity. The fewer people that have that degree of closeness to the stars, the more exclusive an event feels. So I feel like, and especially from our point of view in the role of media, it's very frustrating when you go to a music festival and you're like, no, I'm here to cover this, get out of my way. And you're there with a badge, but there are so many people who are influencers that aren't.
Also have a badge, but they're just
also
there
have
to
a
be
badge,
seen
or they're just
and
there
to promote themselves.
But I think some of that has spilled over into events that were not typically, you know, influencer heavy spaces. And I saw another couple of videos over the weekend talking about a Renaissance fair, and I can't remember where this one was, and people were like, it was so insanely crowded, and it was like shoulder to shoulder, and it took forever to park, and then people were only spending like 2 hours in the festival because they're like, it was so miserable getting in and getting out. And I was like, oh, I can't imagine, because it's supposed to be just a lighthearted fun. Like, I understand the line between people want to film videos with their friends. You make those memories, you can pull pictures from those. That's one of my favorite ways to take pictures with my friends, is just I set up a tripod, I hit a video, and I pull stills. That way we're all in it. Nobody has to be the cameraman. And you get a lot of genuine laugh pictures too, because, you know, while you're posing, it feels silly and awkward, so everybody laughs. And then you have a great photo and some great memories to boot. But I feel like there's time for that, and then there's the event that you're attending.
I feel like they almost need to have at some of these events, because this is just the future we're in now, they almost need to have them set up where there's like an area to
influencer
do
tier,
all that. And then once you move past that, you got to put everything away. You got to live in the moment. You got to take part in what's actually going on around you, because otherwise, you're just kind of missing out on the whole reason you went in the first place.
I agree. And so I think there is that line of like, you know, taking photos does help you keep those memories and interact physically with a moment so that you take something of it with you. But I think there is also, I almost never film at concerts because I'm way too far in the back to make it worth sharing. And I'm like, I just want to be in it, absorbing every second of it. And that's what'll last me, you know? Until I'm telling stories wrong and somebody will say, that's not how that happened, but I'll be like, that's how I remember it.
It's how you remember, it's how you felt.
Exactly. But like we said, we're not really done with this social media and AI conversation. It's going to play into our great debate, which is also on the way. Well, Coast Life, we started the show today talking about AI. Then about halfway through the show, we talked a little social media influencer events. Are they ruining them? Are they not? And now we're coming kind of full circle with the complete social media conversation for our great
Debate.
social media. Is it harmful? Is it helpful? And I think, when you first hear that question, both is the answer. You're going to say both. So I think for me, I want to add a little extra. Is it more harmful than helpful, or more helpful than harmful? Because I think that's the conversation.
And it's hard to parse out here, because one of the things that you have to contend with is if you fall on the side of it's more harmful than helpful, there's nothing stopping you from not being on social media.
That is true.
And yet we seem to all be on social media quite a bit.
I think for me, I am going to land on the harmful side of this argument. And I think more often than not, social media is harmful than it is helpful. I think it is great in a lot of ways, but I think yes, one of the good things is you get information a lot faster, and you get world news a lot faster. You know things that are happening all around, not just you, but you.
The royal we.
The royal we. We're learning a lot about in record time. But I think with that, we're getting information too fast. We're getting wrong information too fast. And people are digesting misinformation and not parsing the difference between what is and isn't fact.
So it is really interesting. I think you talked about news, breaking news, that kind of thing. It actually is really helpful. I remember, this is a weird example, but when there was that attempted coup in Russia, I don't know anybody that lives in Russia, and I was able to follow these accounts that were giving us information in real time from the different cities where this was going on. So for things like that, it's got a huge value.
Absolutely.
However, more often than not, what it actually ends up being used for is like making a teenage girl feel bad about her body, or making you feel bad that you don't own a bigger home, or don't go on more vacations, or this and that.
And that does more damage overall to generations of people than it would even, you want to think, oh, it's just the younger people, oh, it's just this age group. But I think that'll do damage that lasts for so long. But I think the reason that I really always will land on the more harmful side than the helpful side of social media is that I think it does lead into that phone addiction. I mean, I sometimes find myself just grabbing for my phone, even when I have nothing to check. Like, I know nothing has changed on Facebook since I last logged in. Nothing has changed on Instagram since I last logged in, which was probably 10 minutes ago. And while TikTok is constantly feeding you new information, it's nothing that I want to watch.
Like 80% of it is
nothing
just,
good. It is
just
nothing that
brain
I actually,
filler.
yes. And sometimes I do. I check in because I'm like, oh, how's my video doing? And it hasn't done anything in 3 days. And I'm like, how's my video doing? And it still hasn't done anything in 3 more days.
Or heaven forbid, it starts to take off, and then you're checking it every 3 minutes.
Yes, and then you're like, oh wow, they think I'm funny. Oh wow. And so I think that's the side that I'm struggling with personally the most, is that phone addiction. And this comes from an article too that we read where they say, and I think this is on the generous side, that we check our phones 200 times a day.
It's more than that.
It's definitely more than that.
It's a disgusting amount. Like, when you can look at your phone at how much time during the day you've spent on it, and you're just like, what am I doing with my life?
Right.
Like, do I need an intervention? But also, social media sort of feels like the way I've always described golf, which is the most infuriating thing I never planned to quit.
Right. Yes.
Like, I'm gonna be using it. Like, that's just gonna happen.
I know.
Trying to carve out less time to use it, or some time to be away from it, is probably healthy, but I have not successfully done that yet.
Yeah, I've taken baby steps, but you ebbs and flows, But we always turn the conversation over to you guys over on Facebook. We're getting a lot of mixed reviews. People saying, Liz says she's in the middle. Donald said it can be brutal and rarely really great, but it can be. But he says it's something to do. And then Steve also says a little bit of both, which I think is why I wanted to add a little bit of that. Do you lean more one way
because
or
it
the
doesn't
other?
feel like binary. It's not a 1 or a 0. It's shaded one way or the other.
Yeah, but we always want to hear from you. You still have time. You can chime in over on our socials. You can also go to coastlife.com/vote. But we do have some more Coast Life to get to. That's on the way.
This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by BB Healthcare.
At BB Healthcare, all employees of all abilities are valued. Today on Coast Life, we're introducing you to one truly exceptional employee who spreads sunshine everywhere she goes.
BB Healthcare Environmental Service Technician Liz Michaels says if you were to look her up in the dictionary, her definition would be sunshine, because that's simply who she is. As a BB employee with autism, Liz has her share of challenges, but she works hard to get the job done each and every day. And helping people is what Liz was born to do.
As a young kid, I remember going to help my grandmother who had multiple melanoma, going to her house and also taking her to the hospital. And she wasn't a big fan of the hospital, but I remember just as a kid wondering like, how can I help? And I would just hold her hand and, tell her it's gonna be all right, I love you, that kind of thing. So as a young kid, I've always wanted to help people. So I decided to apply for here at South Coastal and become an EVS technician, and it's been wonderful. I help patients every day, I talk to them, I comfort them.
BB fosters an inclusive workplace environment and culture where their team members feel safe, supported, and able to contribute to their fullest potential. All of which enables BB to deliver on their charitable mission, business strategy, and patient-centric approach to their operations. As a manager, Madison Cave has found working with Liz to be both inspiring and rewarding.
It's rewarding because Liz can use her skills. Somebody like Liz and also others who we have hired with different abilities can use their skills. I think it's empowering for them to show that they are here to care for the community, but also spotlighting them and having them have a voice, letting them bring in their skills to the team is super important. I've noticed that lots of new skills are brought on, lots of new ideas. Liz has some great ideas that she's brought on and things that I don't even think of. So it's awesome to see, and I'm really proud of what Liz does. I'm glad to be working with her.
But Liz's accomplishments didn't come without their challenges.
One thing that my family does, and to this day I still thank them, is they do not babyfy me. They don't coddle me. They don't feel sorry for me. Oh, she's autistic. Oh, she's so, weak. Let's take care of her. Because doctors told them I wasn't going to succeed. Like they were going to have to take care of me 24/7, because back in, I guess, not 89, but 91 is when they didn't know much about autism as they do now. I mean, we still have a lot of work to do because there's always something popping up. Some of the challenges though, again, bullying, not being taken seriously and not given a chance, and also people kind of if it makes sense, holding me back, going my mom sometimes was just I don't know if she should be doing that, but my dad is always there and going, she's gonna be fine. You gotta let her go, So just kind of giving me that chance to kind of put my step forward into, some being around people who don't have autism.
As for folks who are not on the spectrum, here's what Liz would like you to know about your neighbors who do have autism.
One thing's for sure is don't think people with autism can't do anything. We can. We can do anything we put our minds to. It's just a different learning style. And the other thing I would really like viewers to know is be patient. Just because they don't do things your way, you could actually learn something from them. And also, to coworkers who may get frustrated, you're missing and don't want to be around them, you're missing out. Because again, we all can learn from each other, and we can all bring something to the table of life. Hire that person with whether it's a different ability. I like to say different abilities because that, they're not disabled. They just may have something that, they learn differently, or, they are handicapped. So what? It's not, they're still a functioning human.
Liz's love and passion for what she does for her patients are contagious, and she spreads that love and sunshine everywhere she goes.
As you can see, Liz really truly is an exceptional employee, and she really is just a ray of sunshine. But we've got some more Coast Life to spread a little bit more sunshine when we get back. Well, we know that sometimes your day could use a little brightening up, and what better way to do that than to hold, touch, pet, play with some animals. I'm hanging out with Chelsea Robeson with Watkins Wonders Petting Zoo. And you guys have brought some animal friends with you. This is Spot in my arms. And we've got Wedgie hanging out here as well. So Chelsea, tell us a little bit about the animal friends that you brought today, as well as what you guys do.
So Spot is about 5 years old. He was surrendered to us our first year in business.
Aww.
And he is our little main guy at all of our events. Everybody knows Spot. Everybody loves Spot. Spot is the
I love him too.
buddy.
I can see why.
Like, he is the picture perfect buddy. And then Wedgie here.
Hi, Wedgie.
This is our 18-year-old gentleman, Wedgie the pony.
He is a gentleman.
He does, we've done parades, we visited nursing homes.
Oh, you do it all, don't you,
daycares
Wedgie?
and schools. And he is just fantastic and about as bomb-proof as you can get. He does like his grass.
Well, yes, I hear that for him, the grass, it really is a treat. And so he gets excited when he gets to graze the grass.
Yes, because at home he's on a dry lot because ponies are prone to foundering. So the sugar in grass can cause like hoof issues, to put it simply. Oh, I'm so
Hi,
sorry.
Wedgie, that's all right.
So-
Little love nudge.
Where I don't know much about his health history, we just kind of err on the side of caution, and he gets a dry lot and hay and special pony feed.
Perfect. And that's keeping him happy and healthy so that he can, do his job and do what he does. So when it comes to Watkins Wonders Petting Zoo, how can people get a hold of you, get you out to maybe their birthday party, or what sort of services do you do with what you love?
So our best way of communication is our Facebook page, Watkins Wonders Petting Zoo, LLC. We do a little bit of everything. So we have our standard packages, and then like if somebody has like a special request, like the kids they have like sensory overload.
Yes.
So we're switching out some of the things so that way the little babies can actually enjoy the animals'
Yes.
visits. So we can work around
Special needs,
special
anything
like
that you,
requests
yes.
and things that may not work.
Sure. If one animal could be a little overwhelming for a kid, we can adjust.
Yes.
So you do school visits, you do home visits.
Yes.
Workplace visits too, I hear.
Yes, if your boss wants to show some employee appreciation, we gladly bring animals out for that also.
I have it on good authority that it's greatly appreciated.
Oh, it is. Your employees love you when you book like the cow or the goat or even the bunnies. Like they love it. We do some community events. We'll be at Mayfest in Odessa, May 3rd. We are going to be in Long Neck this Saturday. You think an animal will be a good fit, we can make it work.
I love that. Chelsea, this really is such a unique line of business, but I know that for you, this really does marry two of your passions.
Animals and kids are literally the best. They are my favorite to work with. We've helped Girl Scout troops earn their badges.
Nice.
We have been the first time kids have seen some of these animals. So like the excitement on their face is absolutely fantastic. And we get to be the ones to teach them about that and like answer their questions, and they get to like interact with these guys in a safe environment. And I love that.
I love that too. And I love how passionate you are about the animals that you have with the petting zoo, but also how passionate you are about sharing them and educating kids in the community and adults too, exactly on how some of these animals should be cared for. And of course, it brightens everyone's day.
You can't have a bad day when you're cuddling a bunny.
You really can't. I have it on good authority. So Chelsea, for folks who are interested in maybe having you guys out or booking you for an event or at their home or at their workplace, how should they best get in touch with you one more time?
So you can reach us on Facebook, Watkins Wonders Petting Zoo, LLC. My phone number is also 302-249-4943. My website is watkins-wonders.square.site. We do have more. We have goats and sheep and cows and guinea pigs and turtles.
All kinds of fun stuff.
Yes, we just brought the little guy and the big guy today.
Yes, well, they're good ambassadors for what you do. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for bringing these guys in today. I know it brightened up my day, made it a little bit better, if not a whole lot better. And we know that we've got, if people are interested in getting in touch with you, you're going to brighten up many, many more days to come. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Of course. But like we said, how do you feel about some more Coast Life, Spot? You feel pretty good about that? That's what's on the way. Well, I know we had some warmer weather today, so it's probably got your brain in that headspace of summer, outdoor living, got to get your boat ready, and so many other things that might be playing into your summer season. So what better way to kind of expo and explore all the things to make your summer outdoor living dreams come true than the DSN Outdoors Expo. Well, coming up tomorrow, Charlie's going to be chatting with Jason Lee from Outdoors Delmarva about the event and why you should be there. So we're going to save that for tomorrow. For now, though, alas, our time is coming to a close. Thank you so much for hanging out with all of us. We love hanging out with you. Charlie's downstairs getting ready for Coast TV News at 5. That is up next. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.